Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Raw Radiant Health, and I'm Natasha, and thank you so much for joining me. So I'm really excited because I've been getting a lot of emails of people getting into the raw food diet, and I love it. I think this is awesome. And a lot of people have been asking me questions on how to get started, you know, what's the best way to transition and things like that. So today I want to talk about how to get started on the raw food diet and just talk about the basics. So the first thing you want to do is you want to decide when you're going to start. You can start immediately, or you can start maybe in a day or two, or you know, you might set a certain date on your calendar as that's going to be the day you're going to get onto raw foods. And you might want to do it, you might have like the goal to do like a month or a few weeks or a few days, or you might even just want to eat half the day have raw food, and then the other half of the day you'd have cooked food, or you know, half your meals raw. Whatever is your goal, make the goal and determine a day that you want to start it. And what I suggest is that you know that date so you can prepare your kitchen and your food beforehand. So because the main thing is that you want your kitchen and your surroundings to be stocked with food and options. Those are two big things, and you want it filled with food that you like, okay? So don't go and buy food that you don't like. Go and buy all the fruits and vegetables that you adore. And try a few things as well, okay? It never hurts to like try something you've never tried before. Now, the one thing is too is, especially with fruit, is you want your fruit to be ripe. So a lot of times at the grocery store, certain things might not be completely ripe, right? So, you know, here and there you might find a melon that's just not yet ready. So for me, what I always do is I make sure that I always have food that's ripe and ready, plus, you know, maybe a pineapple, maybe a melon, a papaya, things also that are not necessarily ripe, but they're getting ripe. I want them to be getting ripe as I have ripe fruit. So there's always food I can eat, and there's always food that's getting ready for me to eat. So I'm never left in a position where I'm like, there's nothing to eat, what am I going to do? Okay, so you always just want to make sure that there's food around. That's like the number one thing. The second thing is, well, I think first I just want to talk about basics, like, because some people ask me, what exactly is raw food? So raw food is food that you find from nature in its whole form. So that could be all fruits and vegetables, nuts, seeds, sea vegetables like dulse or nori or kelp, sprouts. Those things are raw foods. They haven't been tampered with, they haven't been cooked, they're in their natural, fresh, raw, ripe, or hopefully organic form. And so that's a raw food. And then there's raw, what I call condiments, right? Which can be like a cold pressed oil, or Celtic sea salt or Himalayan salt, certain spices, nut butters, and when you get a nut butter, you have to also make sure it's not been roasted almonds or something like that. It's got to be raw nuts that are made into a nut butter. So those kind of things, plus like apple cider vinegar, those kind of things are what I call condiments, or like raw cacao, raw mesquite, raw lucuma powder. Those things are condiments where, you know, the staple of your food is the fresh fruits, vegetables, greens, nuts, and seeds, okay? Those are what you really should be eating all the time. That's your primary food. The condiment stuff, you know, those are things you have on the side here and there, but that should not, you know, you don't want to be living off of just pure nut butter. It'll make you sick, okay? So it's important really to keep the fresh stuff as the majority of the food you're eating, and the other stuff is sort of just, you know, to, you know, for your salad dressings, or just to sort of add something into your meals, okay? And so the main thing is that when you're getting started on the raw food diet, you want to go out and do your first grocery shopping, right? And you're going to pick up all these fresh fruits and vegetables and greens, and you're going to make sure that you've got, you know, like an olive oil or something for your salad, or you can use avocado. That's my favorite to use for like as a salad dressing. I use avocado and just a bit of a lemon. Perfect. Yeah, so you're going to make sure that you've got all these ingredients stocked in your home. And if you're living with other people that are eating cooked food, you might want to ask them, hey, you know, I'm doing this raw food experiment and I don't want to be tempted, so can we put the cooked food in a cupboard, you know, out of my sight? You don't want to have like cookies and ice cream like in front of you. You know, the best case scenario would be if, you know, the person you're living with, if they, you know, they can keep the junk out of the home. But if that's not possible, which a lot of the cases it's not possible, then just ask them to kind of hide it from you so you don't see it and you're not tempted. That will help a lot. Now, the main thing is when you're getting on a raw food diet, like I'm going to give you now just like a few kind of ideas for like, because a lot of people are like, hey, well, what do I eat for breakfast? And what do I eat for lunch? And what do I eat for dinner? And pretty much for breakfast, you want to eat a lot of water-rich foods. My suggestion is to start the day off drinking a few cups of water with a bit of lemon. You can put a bit of Celtic sea salt in there if you want. You can start that off before you eat anything. Just drink a few cups of water to rehydrate yourself. And then you'd either want to have some fresh fruit, or you want to have a fruit smoothie or a green smoothie or green juice, which is great. Whatever you want. I mean, some people start the day with a salad. That is perfectly fine if that's what you want to do. So listen to what your body is craving and wanting, but normally it's a lot of water-rich foods you want to start the day with. And then into lunch, you might continue just having like another huge smoothie, or, you know, a whole big meal of fruit, or a salad, or, you know, guacamole and vegetables. And I'd say your lunch should be like a big lunch, something that really fills you up and can carry you through for quite a few hours, that by the time you have dinner, you're hungry, but you're not starving, and you don't have to have a crazy amount of food. So you want to keep like the big food, the bulk of your food, in towards more of the middle of the day. And then for dinner, again, you might want to have some fruit along with a salad, and you might want to make like, you know, different pâtés or different vegetable rolls, all sorts of stuff. Like, go on, you know, if you go on the internet and do a little search on, you know, raw food recipes, I mean, there's like thousands of free raw food recipes online. Another thing too is, you know, make a raw dessert as well. My suggestion is always have in your refrigerator, always have like a dip or a pâté, something that's kind of heavier, that's made either out of avocado or nuts and seeds that you can use to, you know, eat with vegetables, things like that. Always have that on hand, and always have something ready to make some sort of raw dessert, or have a lot of fruit on hand, because a lot of times we're looking for things that are heavier, or we're looking for things that are sweeter. So this will help you get through, you know. So you might want to make like a really nice raw pie or raw ice cream, or, you know, there's tons of things to do. Now, there's one rule I do live by with raw food, is I don't care if you have nuts or if you have a lot of fruit, as long as you try and get as much greens into your diet as possible. And that, for me, my goal is usually to get about 2 pounds of greens in my diet every day. And so that would be like 2 heads of lettuce, or a bunch of kale, and a box of spinach. Either I will juice it, or I'll put it in a smoothie, or I'll have it as a salad, I'll put it in dips, but I try and get in as much greens as possible. And sprouts. Greens and sprouts are awesome. Alright, so I'm leaving you guys with that. Have a fabulous, fabulous day, and I'll see you tomorrow.